Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is after 12 o'clock on the West Coast on trade deadline day, February 25th, 2019. Welcome to Teal Town Live Deadline Day. I'm, of course, your host, Eric Curry. You can always find me at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram machine. Boy, howdy, has it been an interesting 24 hours in the NHL. We're still waiting for a lot of more to come through. Nonetheless, if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow Sharks and hockey fans on the YouTube chat, on the page, on the app. Do so. Join in on the fun. We'll be connecting with you just in a jiffy. At or hashtag us at Tealtown USA. We'll get to those tweets. And of course, follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and of course, the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining me. I am Eric Kura. Thanks for enjoying your lunchtime activity as we get caught up on what has transpired at the very last minute of this trade deadline. It was like a quiet. It looked like a quiet trade deadline, but then all of a sudden things started going on. I'm still keeping an ear to what's going on at TSN. They just broke that Michael Del Zotto of the Anaheim Ducks, formerly of the Vancouver Canucks, just been traded to the St. Louis Blues. That is going down just now. So a lot of cues. And so internet. It happens. You got to deal with it. We're gonna move on. It's mainly probably because of the feed for TSN going on. But so let's get to that. Ryan Hartman and a pick going back to Philly for Wayne Simmons. That one broke just as the as the trades went down. So perfect with that. All right, so interesting there. So here we go. All right, so I see a bunch of people on there, a lot of trades in the queue. So forgive me if I get distracted and I hear something coming on. Uh, so Edmonton was silent today from races. Fan Rocks 4. Edmonton and LA should have had a fire sale. Edmonton wasn't going to mess with Bakersfield. No, but they had salary dump Nurse, Clefbaum, and Larson. Larson, that's one that they don't think they want to give up just because of what that meant in trade wise. Darnell Nurse is still a popular and youngster, so don't expect him to make any major move there with Nurse. So, all right, let's get to that. There you go. Now you know who are find me. Again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We'll get you going in just a jiffy here. So, trying to keep everything coming down. Marcus Johansson going to Boston from New Jersey. That one's also in the queue. We'll get that updated in just a second. Let's get you caught up on what happened before I went on the air. So, and it all started, this was technically a deadline day deal because of the East Coast time that they go off of. We'll talk more about that first one. San Jose gets Gustav Nyquist along with 2 picks, 1 conditional in just a little bit. But here's what else has gone down this since that one came out about 9:30 when the Pucknologist was still on the air. Brian Gibbons to Ottawa for Patrick Seeloff, a forward and defenseman going. That's more of a prospect move more than anything. However, with Ottawa's things, they're probably just going to keep playing prospects. Keith Kincaid, probably one of the main goaltenders for the Devils this season, especially when Corey Schneider was injured, goes to Columbus in exchange for a 2022 fifth-round pick. That's an interesting one. They do not have any trust in Korpisalo, or maybe there was a trade potentially for Bobrovsky. So Okay, so Wayne Simmons goes to Nashville for Ryan Hartman and a conditional 2024 round pick that can move up if Nashville wins a playoff series. So, moving onward, Kevin Hayes. Congratulations, Jets. You win the Kevin Hayes sweepstakes. Uh, Brendan Lemieux is forward, and he will get picked up to the Rangers along with a 2019 first round pick. The Jets willing to let go of that, along with a conditional 2022 fourth round pick in that one. Moving onward, Jordan Wheel uh, goes to Montreal and going to Arizona, not Detroit. My apologies for that. Uh, Arizona gets Michael Chaput. Uh, and then an interesting one with Carolina and Florida. They both exchange future considerations with each other. Tomas Jurko goes to Carolina for future considerations. Cliff Pugh, who was one of the integral parts of the Jeff Skinner trade, goes to Florida for future considerations. That'll be interesting there. Speaking of Florida, they send Derek Brassard to Colorado along with a conditional 2026 rounder for Florida's 2026 or fourth round pick. So, uh, yep. Yeah. So let's see. Puck, you're talking about chains without. Yeah, my phone died. Just a little bit ago to have that there. But Felix, trust me, I've totally thought about that for sure, though. So that's what's going on right there. However, but wait, there's more. Act now. You get a third page uh, to come in. And of course, it's not loading for me. What else is new, right, folks? Well, why would something fall apart on me like that? Let's get this up here. So we'll get this shortly. Chat, tell me what you think of all the deals. What did you think of one that I'm about to show you, uh, including the Mark Stone deal for the Vegas Golden Knights? And that's probably the other big one, along with Nyquist in my mind, along with Kevin Hayes going to Winnipeg. Uh, Quite interesting deals here as the deadline approached. But here we go to Columbus. Adam McQuaid, who was with the Rangers, goes for a 2020 fourth round pick. The Columbus Blue Jackets going all in. They are tired of being the only NHL team currently in the league that hasn't won a playoff series. Uh, Nashville gets Mikhail Granlund from the Wild for Kevin Fiala. That's an interesting one there, as Paul Fenton, one of the original Sharks, goes to as the GM of the Wild, formerly of the Predators, as their assistant GM, makes a trade with his old club. And then the big one that happened about 15 minutes before the deadline hit zero, Mark Stone goes to the Vegas Golden Knights for Oscar Lindbergh, Eric Brandstrom, a very highly touted uh, defenseman there. And some have said, you know, the second coming of Eric Carlson. Of course, he spells his name the right way. They Sens also get a 2020 second round pick that originally belongs to Dallas. So weighs on the success of the Stars for that one. And the one that broke just as we went on the air, Wayne Simmons to Nashville for Ryan Hartman and a conditional 2020 fourth rounder. Quite interesting there. Brands from a massively popular and uh, huge pickup for the Ottawa Senators, that he'll be around for them to continue their rebuild. But while we wait for the others to come in that are still in the queue in the NHL office, let's talk about the one that occurred while the while the pucknologist was recording. And if you find it interesting, you should check it out how that went down. But Gustav Nyquist, of course, he wears the number 14 and scored a goal yesterday against the Sharks in the 5-3 victory over the Red Wings. He It'll be kind of interesting to see. Did they wait on the plane for him to go to with the team to Boston, or whatnot? Definitely, they are in the Nyquist for the Cup. So far this season, 16 goals, 33 assists, 49 points. You're likely to see him hit career highs in assists and points before the season is done, barring any setbacks. He is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and it was quite interesting to see this trade as it went down. Nyquist coming to San Jose in exchange for San Jose's own 2019 second round pick that they owned, uh, along with the conditional 2020 third round pick. The condition, of course, is if the Sharks go to the Cup final, that gets up to a 2020 second. Oh, we have Matt Hendricks is now a Winnipeg Jet. So Matt Hendricks goes to Winnipeg there. Uh, and we're seeing if anything else. Gord Miller, yep, and that's all we have for that one right now. So let's get back to okay. All right, so Marcus Johansson goes to Boston, uh, to New Jersey. It's a second round pick in 2019, a 2020 fourth round pick. For Marcus Johansson, who has 12 goals and 27 points in 48 games for the Devils. So now we're just all over the place. So let's get back to what we were talking about just a moment ago. Uh, Also, Fantenberg went from LA to Calgary with a conditional pick. But back to Nyquist, you're looking at a career high, likely in assists and points. One of the shifty players that I've really liked on Detroit squad came in uh, the year after the Sharks eliminated the Red Wings in 2011. Uh, Definitely looked like a potential future for him. Instead, he is going to be an unrestricted free agent. The trade, of course, Nyquist to San Jose for the second round pick in 2019, the conditional 2020 third round pick, which becomes a second round pick if the Sharks go to the Cup final or they sign Nyquist to a deal. He is an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year on that one. Uh, Now, you're like me and wondering, well, where the heck are we going to put this guy in? And well, let's get that line blender going, folks. So, this is what Shirk and I kind of agree with him on this sense of lines for the Sharks as they prepare to play Boston tomorrow at TD Garden. I think that top line will stay the same. Meyer, Couture, Pavelski, Kane, Hurdle, Nyquist. I think that's where Nyquist will fit in. LeBanc, Thornton, Sorensen. If Sorensen's ready to go there, if not, don't be surprised if Donskoy goes to the third line. Uh, and then Melker, Carlson, Barkley, Goodrow, Jonas Donskoy there. Essentially kills the deadline, essentially killing those rumors and those call-ups from the Barracuda, whether it's Suomela, where it's Gambrell, and whether it's Lukasz Radil. Should be interesting to see. So let's take How long did that take you to come back on, Eric? Not that long. Come on now. You should know me by now, Felix. Uh, Mike Nevis saying Yannick Nyquist, which I heard you say last night on the Technologist. So, so interesting there. Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, Skylar Bringberg, 49 points for a bad Detroit Red Wings team. Yep, definitely. It's quite interesting on that one. Mike Nevis, I'm pushing for an IKEA pop up store inside SAP now with all the Swedish we have. Yes. Don't be surprised if you hear a lot more Swedish House Mafia at the tank in the near future. We already start off the warm ups with it, right? Oh, excuse me, folks. Forgive me. I've been up since 11:30 last night. Quite interesting. Go with that. Felix PDB going to blend those lines harder than a jumper juice on a hot summer day. Yes, yes, Felix. Yes, mixing mixing with Swedish meatballs. Welcome to the ice. Yours. Wait. Please welcome your Sweden. Shar, shar, shar. There you go. So we got that going. They have Simmons going to Nashville with for Hartman and a 2020 fourth round pick. That'll change to a third round if the Predators win around on that one. That's all we've heard so far. We haven't heard the finalization of the Delzato deal to the St. Louis Blues. We said the Vandenberg one to Los Angeles, or I'm sorry, from Los Angeles to Calgary there. So, but Mark Stone getting the love right now as the last minute deal for for that. Okay, here we go. Delzato to the Blues for a sixth round pick going back to Anaheim. Uh, Marcus Johansson, a 2019 second round pick and a 2020 fourth round pick going back to New Jersey. And that one, Matt Hendricks going to Winnipeg for a seventh round pick going the other way. So here's what's going on. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I expected Mark Stone to be in the Western Conference. I thought for sure it was going to be a done deal going to Winnipeg. He's from Manitoba. I thought something was going to take care of that, but you know, Vegas. You knew don't bank on Vegas because George McPhee and his staff has done a tremendous effort there. And now we are hearing Eric Goodbranson. Eric, he also spells his name the right way. Goodbranson from Vancouver to Pittsburgh. Waiting to hear what that deal is that. But Goodbranson from Vancouver to Pittsburgh. So Jim Benning gets something done at the deadline for the Canucks as they make their playoff push a little bit. Pittsburgh doing the same as well. So that'll be interesting to see what happens on that one. Stone Inc.'s deal with Vegas 8 years at 9.25 million. Holy wow. That is quite interesting. Ottawa put max deal on the table, but 2 games in Vegas. I couldn't wait to leave Ottawa. I had my bags packed all season. Yeah, he kind of said something like that when he was talking to James Duffy on TSN earlier as the trade went down. But that's a big deal. So Stone inks the deal 8 years, 9.25 per. So that'll be an interesting one. Here's the other thing, folks. Now that the trade deadline has passed, Eric Carlson can now sign an 8-year deal with the San Jose Sharks. Now, are we going to expect that within the next hour or so? Highly doubtful. Who knows what they're going to who knows what's going to happen on All right, so TSN kills their coverage on ESPN2. So you're with me right now. Apparently, Columbus tried to get Henrik Lundqvist as well, not happening. You feel for him because his buddy got traded, and then the next day plays for Dallas. He breaks his arm. He's out for a month. That's some bad luck there. So, chat, let's hear from you. That everything is done, everything, the dust is still settling. Winnipeg gets a depth defenseman. They also get Kevin Hayes from the Rangers. The Sharks get Gustav Nyquist, which I think fits in perfectly for the team. You can upgrade on a winger on the second line. You don't give up any roster players. I mean, what do you think? That'll be interesting to see. What else? And then of course Mark Stone. I mean, yeah, they Vegas got the last splash at the end of the deadline, but I don't think anybody can match that offer that Vegas offered because well maybe the league just handed it to them. So let's be real here. You know the when you get handed those rules, it's nice. So so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Uh, so waiting to see what's going on. Everything else, Goodbranson goes to the Penguins. One person tweets out his his isolated impact scale for and says Eric Goodbranson to Penguins is truly is terrible, a truly terrible defender, just like so bad. So that was quite interesting. To which some Penguins fans are saying, Jack Johnson and Erica Branson on the same pairing, I'm gonna die. Whew. Yeah, that one's a quite interesting. We are hearing from Chris Johnson of Sportsnet that Tanner Pearson might be headed back to Vancouver as a part of the Goodbranson deal. That would be quite interesting. Yeah, that one's a quite interesting one. Um, oh, correction, Stone 8 years, 9.5 million. You wonder if Erik Karlsson, seeing that, it's like, well, I can easily get 10 now. But we shall see. I wonder. You wonder if EK65 essentially got a deal already in place when he agreed to come to San Jose, and they just haven't made it official until they can now, of course. So, um, so it'll be interesting to see. So, all right, sending out the Hangout chat to rest of the crew if there anybody. Now your jersey is relevant. Thank you, the Illuminato, for that tweet for sure. There. So let's check on the chat, see how you're doing. Again, I think the Sharks are all in. Unfortunately, I think now with the West, I don't think they're the clear cut favorite as they were 15 minutes ago, or 30 minutes ago. That should be interesting to see what happens there. So, I do like. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I just don't know how the heck you get things going here for the Sharks. I think you're all set. Jacob Rosenberg, the West is gonna be a fight. Oh yeah, definitely. Uh, but the Sharks are still very strong according to Mike Nevis. They don't disclose terms of deals. Yes, we just find out a different white. That's for sure. With Tanner Pearson going back in that Branson trade. Wow. Again, I apologize. Work back in for me at midnight, so I am on absolute no sleep whatsoever while doing this. Felix, go right ahead for you, Red Buddy. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below and make sure you ring that bell. That'll notify you when we have a show coming on uh, in the future. Um, can we get a Rocket if the playoffs started today, guy? I can't do it as good as Rocket can. I can tell you what's going on right now. Uh, so Mike Nevis, they got 14 more goals with Stone over Nyquist. Yeah, they do. Good on them, and it'll be quite interesting to see what happens going forward now. So let's take a look at the standings right now as we speak. Uh, I'm quite surprised at the amount of trades that happened at the last minute, mainly because outside, let's be honest, outside of Anaheim, LA, and Ottawa, a lot of teams are still in it, especially in the West. It's a dogfight for those final two uh, wild card spots. But we'll begin in the West if my computer wants to work with me here. Maybe. There we go. All right. So, uh, in the West, you have Winnipeg at 78, Nashville at 77, St. Louis at 72. The Blues pick up Del Zotto for some defensive depth. Nashville gets Fiala and Brian Boyle earlier before the deadline. Winnipeg picks up Kevin Hayes and Matt Hendricks going in there. As you head towards the Pacific, Calgary with a 3-point lead on San Jose with a game in hand. The Sharks are at 82 points. Vegas comfortably sitting at 69. Hilarious. Uh, in the wild card, Dallas is holding out that top wild card spot at 67. Minnesota at 66. Colorado at 65. They're just a point out. Arizona at 63, 3 points out. Chicago at 61. Vancouver at 60. Edmonton at 58. Uh, you're kind of getting on the outside looking once you're getting out there. Edmonton starting to slowly not go towards a playoff spot. Vancouver clinging on, and should be interesting to see how that works, especially with Tanner Pearson going the other way. So, if the playoffs started tomorrow, here's what you would have in the West. So, you would have Calgary as the top seed in the West. They would take on Minnesota. Uh, Dallas would get Winnipeg, Nashville and St. Louis, and San Jose against Vegas. That's what you would have in the West. Now, in the East, where it's getting where it's also getting a little interesting, you're looking like this. Islanders, Caps, Blue Jackets holding down the top three spots in the Metro. The Atlantic looks like it. Tampa Bay, Boston has just surged from their big streak to take over second place in the Atlantic. However, Toronto does have a game in hand, but they are 3 points behind and looking pretty sharp already. Montreal at 73, Carolina at 72, so is Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's holding on for dear life as we speak. If the playoffs started tomorrow in the East, you would have Tampa Bay going up against Carolina. Quick local, well, I don't want to say local, but a quick nearby series in the East. What a shocker. The Islanders in Montreal. Will be quite interesting. A rematch of the first round last year between Columbus and Washington. And then, of course, Boston and Toronto, another rematch that I don't think Toronto fans are looking forward to. That's for sure. So that's what you would have if the playoffs started tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Looking into the chat, Steve Cropper thought we need more. Let's get it done. Though what we can do, Sharks need to do a gut check and bring it versus taking time off during games. Hashtag get Jumbo Stanley. Yeah, it's gonna be quite interesting. If, and let's say the big if the Sharks were to go all the way, what happens with Jumbo? What happens with EK65? What happens with Joe Pavelski? Heck, now Donskoy, Nyquist. I mean, what happens now? That's the interesting one. So, Jacob Rosenberg, at least Calgary didn't upgrade in goal. Yeah, hey, too much. They didn't do much. They got some defensive depth. That's all they got going on. Skylar Greenberg outside the Pacific, the top three is trashed. Yeah, but the Central is also jacked. So you're looking at those top 6 teams that have that have done some work or have been on great runs lately to get back to it. That other guy, 172. Any word on Yoki? Heard there was trade talk for him. Yeah, apparently there was some trade talk about Joakim Ryan. Nothing has transpired just yet. So it'll be interesting to see. Felix in the chat, what do you think the biggest difference is between the West and the East? Why is the West so damn tight compared to the East? Honestly, Chicago got off to a horrible start. They had to make a big run there. St. Louis fired Mike Yeo in the middle of the season. Jake Allen wasn't being reliable as a goaltender for them, and then they got on a big run. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on there. Nashville and Winnipeg have been dominant already in the West. We knew Calgary was going to be a playoff team. We didn't expect it to be this good. Ooh. Sorry, folks. I think a lot of us projected that Calgary would be would be in a playoff spot, and so that's where I see where things are at. So interesting if that's true. Wayne Simmons declined to waive no trade clause to Calgary. That is a huge thing. So he said no to Calgary, but yes to Nashville. Quite interesting. And a blow to Calgary for a big move there for sure. So I hope I've answered all the questions. Felix, I hope that was the one that you were talking about earlier. So, all right. So if you're just joining us, the trade deadline has passed. And let's get you caught up on a number of things going on with the trades this afternoon. Like we mentioned, Nyquist to the Sharks for a 2019 second round pick, conditional 2020 third round pick. Brian Gibbons goes to Ottawa for Patrick Seeloff. That's an Ottawa Anaheim trade. New Jersey's Keith Kincaid is now a Columbus Blue Jacket. Going back to Jersey, a 5th round pick in 2022. One of the big guys that was in play today, Kevin Hayes from the Rangers, is now a Winnipeg Jet. He gets sent to the Peg in exchange for Brendan Lemieux. I'm not sure if there's any relation. 2019 first round pick and a conditional 4th round pick in 2022. For continuing on, Jordan Wheel goes from Arizona to Montreal for Michael Chaput. Carolina and Florida do a weird future considerations trade. that include Tomas Jurko and Cliff Pugh. No, I did not make those names up. Cliff Pugh, an integral part of the Jeff Skinner trade. So a big blow to Carolina's move with scoring there. Florida also traded Derek Brassard to the Colorado Avalanche for a conditional 2026 rounder. The Rangers get a 2020 third rounder back in return there. Uh, Continuing on, Columbus gets another defenseman in Adam McQuaid. The Rangers get a conditional 2020 fourth round pick back in exchange for him. Michael Gramlin goes from Minnesota to Nashville in exchange for Kevin Fiala. Uh, the interesting move there with Paul Fenton, the former assistant GM in Nashville, now the current GM in Minnesota. The big one of the day, of course, Mark Stone going to the Vegas Golden Knights for Oscar Lindbergh, the highly touted, offensively talented defenseman Eric Brandstrom, and a 2020 second round pick. That one was originally held by Dallas. Also, Mark Stone has signed an 8-year contract with an average annual value of $9.5 million there. Wayne Simmons goes, apparently waived his no trade clause to Philly, not Calgary, in exchange for Ryan Hartman and a conditional fourth round pick in 2020. So Columbus or Tampa from Aiden DeLow. It'll be interesting to see what goes on for that. Let's see. Who do you, from Aiden DeLow, who do you think is the biggest threat? I still see Calgary's out there. I still, Winnipeg is going to be, pretty good. Although I thought the Sharks took care of him pretty well in that OT win last month. Vegas is going to be tough. Vegas is going to be tough, guys. I mean, you all knew that Vegas was going to make a move of some sort and make a splash at the end of the line at the end of the deadline there. So, by the way, shameless plug, because I gotta give my boy Felix Chow some love. He'll be posting an article on Joe Thornton sometime this week, likely possibly later this evening. So be on the lookout with that. Uh, Mike Nevis, CBJ won the deadline. Don't get blindsided by Stone. That's true. Just because it was the last trade doesn't make sure, doesn't mean that it's like the big one to happen. I mean, I think Vegas stole the thunder of the Evander Kane deal when they went and got Tomas Tatar, which didn't work out for them. He ended up being a part of the Max Pacioretty trade. So. Steve Cropper making money in Vegas with low taxes, that's for sure. There's still trade in the center. Is there still more trades that are getting done? I will take a look at that. Right now, we'll be back with you tomorrow night, following Sharks and Bruins. That'll be interesting there. So. Jets get defenseman Nathan Beaulieu from Buffalo for a 6th round pick. Quite interesting there for that one. Trying to see if there's any other ones at the moment that are going anywhere else. Doesn't look like it. Kislevich to Winnipeg. 7th round pick back to Florida. So Winnipeg making a couple more moves at the deadline. And seems like the Central Registry is getting quite interesting there and taking their time getting this one done. So was making sure we got everything covered here. Chad, if you feel free to help us out here as well. Canucks get that's interesting. If that's the case, dang it, somebody get me a charger. You know, I'm gonna take a quick break and make sure we got that one confirmed. Yeah, let me take a quick break. I need to get some water. Fortunately, when you're a one-man show, you gotta get a break in somehow. So uh, I'll put this up. Be right back after this, folks. You are watching Teal Town Live Deadline Day Edition. And we're back. All right, taking care of everything here. Sorry about that. There. Oh, jeez. All right. And we're back. All right. Welcome back to the Deadline Day special. Hope you are all checking out good stuff there. VGK coverage. Yes, you got Mark Stone. Congratulations. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Phantom 044 about that. Yes, I was traded mid broadcast. I'm going to VGK coverage in exchange for VGK coverage. So, uh, an interesting one here. I'm trying to make sure we get that one. Jonathan Dahlin, if I'm not mistaken, is the son of Ulf Dahlin. I don't know why he went Dahlin. So let's see what's going on here. That's an interesting one because I know they were very highly touted about that. Yep. So it is final here. Linus Carlson goes to Vancouver in exchange for Jonathan Dahlin. Uh, so for per Kevin Kurz, Dahlin was the 42nd overall pick in the 2016 draft, 29 points in 50 games with Utica this season. Going back, Linus Carlson, which I believe was a pick not too long ago for the Sharks. Of the Sharks, of course, trying to eliminate their overload of quota on Carlsons they could have in the league. Uh, so that one gets done as the horn technically officially goes 0 there. This season for Carl Schroenke, HK in the Alvins in a very super elite league in Sweden. 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points in 48 games. 59 PIMs, which is quite high for him this season. Last season in Karlskrona, in the junior 20 team, he had 52 points. So that was a big jump there. And of course, it looked promising that he would be in there. Had an assist in the under 20 junior tournament. So he was the Sharks' 3rd round pick in the 2018 entry draft. So interesting to see here how you give up on a guy that was your 3rd round pick. So definitely interesting. Dahlin was a linemate of Elias Pettersson. That's even a more interesting one when they were discussing that. So we'll see what's going on with that one. It looks like an exchange of prospects. I know the Canucks, in listening to TSN 1040, that the Canucks were a little bit of frustrated about his conditioning when he came back for training camp. They weren't exactly thrilled with him. But he's done all right. From Don Julio, Dahlin is 25th among players under 22 in the NHL. More meatballs. Yes, more meatball. Is that what we're going to be shouting? More meatballs and wanting the IKEA Sharks sponsorship pop-up shop at the tank. Jonathan Becker, if you are watching, I'm just saying, there you go. So last night I said we needed more Ulf. That was going to be interesting. So apparently my phone has finally come on. So we shall see what occurs there as we go on. Wow, it's really going off. Let's see. Let's do that here. All right. So heal the groin and let's do this. Yep, and that's kind of essentially what they need to do now. Get that groin ready and be ready to roll as the playoffs are right around the corner. We've hit the 3/4 mark, so yeah, definitely. Canucks got him in a trade for Alex Burrows. Yeah, he was originally property of the Ottawa Senators in that deal there. So, Kevin, this is for you, and a special request from Felix. Let me just hit that. We have a trade to announce. Thank you very much, Kevin. Very much, Mr. Kevin Lacey, making a special spot here on the broadcast today. So let's pull up Jonathan Dahlin's numbers here. Jonathan Dahlin. So he was with Utica in the AHL. Be interesting to have him likely come over to the Barracuda in that time. I don't think he was playing. I don't think he was playing in the NHL. I think he was just with Utica. So 21 years old, 5'11", 181. His dad is former Shark Ulf Dahlin. Does he get to wear the 22? That remains to be seen. Another Swedish player, which just boggles my mind. You know, I know Nicholas Sundstrom is a scout for the Sharks, but that's crazy. You know, folks. So that is unbelievable. So via Elite, I can't talk. EliteProspects.com, Jonathan Dahlin, 5'11", 183. He was the second round pick of the Ottawa Senators in 2016. They call him a dangerous offensive dynamo. Dahlin is a shifty scorer slash playmaker with refined technical skills and excellent overall awareness. Furthermore, an agile and creative player with great character. Handles the puck at top speed and has great vision, good work ethic, and a very capable two-way player. For the Utica Comets, he has 14 goals, 15 assists for 29 points. For the Utica Comets, most likely headed to the Barracuda as they push for their Calder Cup run. The interesting stat here, a minus 13 for so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Mike Nevis, Ottawa has traded the rights to the entire franchise to Seattle for nothing. Chris Weidman goes from Florida to Pittsburgh now. Skylar Greenberg. So the Sharks get another Swedish player. Does this help our chances to re-sign EK65? You know, when we had a first couple of players on there, like, okay. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's definitely gotten crazy out of hand. So how fast can we build a little Sweden in downtown San Jose? Mike, you are on it today, bud. 22-year-old Jonathan Dahlin, the newest member of the Sharks. That is adds on to the Swedish house mafia that we have going on in Teal Town as Nyquist joins the Sharks. He'll be playing tomorrow at TD Garden as the Sharks play the Boston Bruins. Be an interesting look there for sure. Skylar Greenberg. This just in, Doug Wilson spotted in East Palo Alto looking for hockey players and tanning beds in IKEA. Per cap friendly on the Marcus Johansson deal, New Jersey retains 40% of Johansson's salary. That was another thing too. And the crew was just very excited about it. So the Nyquist deal, as we bring that up again, the Nyquist deal, it's a second round pick to Detroit. Okay. We get that. You send a conditional third that can become a second if either Nyquist resigns or the Sharks go to the Cup final. Okay. But yet you let, and Detroit retains 30% of his salary. Gotta say, that's a pretty sweet deal, Doug. And then you're able to get Jonathan Dahlin from the Canucks, who I think they were pretty upset didn't come. Skylar Greenberg with the fact or fiction. Hey, you're stealing Rob's idea. IKEA becomes a sponsor for the Sharks next season if EK65 free signs. I'll put it out there like that. So, all righty. So, barring anything else, that should do it for us here. We are at 105. The trade deadline has come and gone. The Sharks have made a couple of deals within the last 24 hours. Gustav Nyquist goes to San Jose in exchange for a second round pick this year and a conditional 2023. Detroit pays 30% of his salary. Jonathan Dahlen, once highly touted draft pick originally from Ottawa, went to Vancouver in the Alex Burrows trade. Is now a San Jose Shark, likely going to be a San Jose Barracuda in exchange for Linus Carlson, going back the other way. So that's what we got for you right now. If there's any more updates, we will break it to you on Periscope. In case you missed anything or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Of course, smash that subscribe button. We do go on the air after every single game, and trust me, I think there'll be a lot of us on tomorrow night as Gustav Nyquist makes his Sharks debut against the Bruins. So be on the lookout for that. For sure. Let's see. Jamie Baker will run the Swedish bakery. Mr. Brazil can run the IKEA pop-up shop, and Randy the Swedish meat store. Yeah, I think so. So with that, I will leave you. It's been a crazy day, crazy last hour of the deadline, huh? We only had like 6 trades, and then boom, everything got going. So until then, thank you for watching. Oh, Chris, now you show up. Hi, Chris. It's Eric. Remember me? I'm the one you guys always make fun of the internet with. It's fine. EK65 day to day, as I am. So until tomorrow night, thank you for watching and thank you for supporting the show. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real, teal. Have a great afternoon, everyone. And cup or bust. Let's go. Have a good one, everyone.